Wrestling with wrestling's past and present.
Trucive thought was like, eat the paintball. So I just took a bite out of it in the middle of the class. And I had like orange and blue paint dripping down my lip.
Teacher was like, he's crazy. He just ate paint. We better do it today. So I don't even have to tell her. Mom, Tim's make fun of me.
Mondo.
Mondo Burger. Welcome to Good Burger. Welcome to Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Just went to further the cheap pop. Mick Foley still owes Tim $10.
Just the definition of blue balls and gaga. It's like
that should be a t-shirt. Blue balls and gaga.
I was waiting for him to say his name. I'm like,
totally forgot to say it.
You give this fucking guy 1 week off, and you add 2 words to the intro. And Tim's like, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. We've been doing the intro for 200 fucking episodes the same way.
That was the most asinine shit that I've ever seen. Like, it just like, that was a storyline. A man ate his dog.
Oh, they're huge.
I'm titillated.
Make sure you talk about his calf muscle being bulging and his arm muscle being like
reason to come here and listen to ourselves talk.
Absolutely,
and then you can listen to us too.
Strap on and balls only on wrestling past and present.
This is Gangrel, the Vampire Warrior, and you're listening to Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
This is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present. I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Pulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And today we are covering another SummerSlam show. We're going back to the year 2000 with SummerSlam 2000.
Was this Summerfest before, like, it was actually Summerfest? Like, did they the whole Jeremy Piven debacle? Summerfest. Like, no, it's SummerSlam, bro. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, this is kind of at the heels of the Attitude Era. Like, honestly, they're starting to kind of come out of it a little bit. It's still Attitude Era, but like they're on the backside of it, and it was a pretty good show, I think. I mean, without spoiling it, I don't think it was one of the best ones we've done, but it definitely wasn't one of the worst.
Yeah, I mean, it had its iconic match, like you say, as we're alluding to, and it just
iconic.
Yeah. It just, you could definitely tell, like you said, because of the transition of Attitude Era into what we later would know would be the Ruthless Aggression Era. It kind of had lost its edge. And honestly, like the 2000s kind of had some really weak storylines, and this was kind of the culmination of a lot of those weak storylines, including like the right to censor. Because it's funny. Let's make the actual FCC, and it's gonna be Stevie Richards and the Godfather. He's not a pimp anymore. He's in a suit. Like, it just,
he's the good father,
right? And then Ivory, like, let's make her dress like an Amish nun. Like, it'll be funny. Give her like a 1950s the Men in Black vibe, and their awful music, that siren.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's bad.
Here it is. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Just trying to.
Roland just showing off his Jonathan Life t-shirt.
Yes.
Well, no, I came home and I didn't actually realize that like something had been moved. I couldn't find my Xbox controller. I have no backlight because usually I kick that on so there's at least some light. And I'm like, where the hell? It's connected. Where the fuck did it go? I found it here. I would imagine that Maverick probably had something to do with it. So, oh yeah, he shut the power off to everything down here too. So yeah, he definitely had something to do with it. The whole power strip is off.
Tim, you like how Roland's blaming his son?
I know. Blame
wasn't
the
me.
kids, huh?
Wasn't me. I leave my stuff a certain way. I was like reaching on my couch. I'm like, where'd my controller go? What the fuck?
Not so much. Roland cares about the right to censor.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well, speaking of the right to censor, they kick off the show. It's Bull Buchanan, the Good Father, and Steven Richards. They're going to get a win over Too Cool, Grandmaster Sexay, Scotty Too Hottie, and Rikishi. Rikishi comes out with some of the former Godfather's hoes. Their names are Mandy, and then you go to this one, Victoria. I think, I don't disapprove of them starting the match off of this, or this show with this match, because Too Cool is over. Rikishi is over. Obviously, the hoes are going to be over. So it was kind of cool. I guess it's a little surprising that RTC got the win, but I think that they were trying to push them here. I guess kind of, it never really panned out to anything. They kept the match short, which was a good thing, under 5 minutes. But it is what it is. I mean, not the greatest match in the world, but I kind of understand putting Too Cool out there to get the crowd going. And just a side note, if you've watched any, especially the Godfather's appearance on the Broken Skull sessions, he hated this gimmick with a passion.
And this is coming from a guy who also had Papa Shango as one of his gimmicks.
Yeah. So it's definitely a far cry from what he used to do, dancing with all the ladies. And I remember him and having Tim White dance with all the ladies.
I remember that iconic one where he tries to give the hose to the Undertaker. He's like,
the Undertaker's almost laughing
like hose.
Yeah.
But,
he would always try to break the Undertaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tim's right. This was pretty much there to get the crowd going because Too Cool was over, Rikishi was over. But I mean, that's really all it was for. It like Tim said too, it's also kind of shocking that Right to Censor actually won this match. But at this point, Too Cool didn't need to win; they were over no matter what. So I mean, they could take the loss. And like Tim said again, they were kind of trying to push Right to Censor, so it made sense not to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about the match. It was, like you both perfectly said, it was just a let me up match. And Too Cool, they were fun, they were entertaining. Right to Censor was, everyone knew even back then, even back in high school, Rolling 9 in high school. And I'm like, yeah, this is just a cheap shot of the TV censors because, that's when the dirt sheets starting to kind of really come out on the internet. And even though it took an hour with your dial-up connection to connect to a dirt sheet, you're like, oh, USA told WWE that they're being too raunchy. So they're like, damn it, we're going to make the Right to Censor. It's like, no one cares, Vince. And it went on way too long. And Bull Buchanan, I forgot he was there for like 30 seconds because was he ever relevant in WWE? Like, seriously.
No.
Didn't he like do an angle? I don't know if it was a team or they did an angle with Austin at one point, like years ago before this even happened. I saw something. I could be thinking of somebody else, but
I'll put two bald guys together.
Meanwhile, Cesaro's like, what the hell?
I know, right?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think if they do another one of those Sonic ring on a pole matches that AEW does, do you think that Cesaro will grab the breast ring to shove it in the old man's face?
Maybe.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tim.
It's all right. Our second match is between X-Pac and Road Dogg. X-Pac can get the win in 4.5 minutes. This is kind of, DX is kind of, they're pretty much dead at this point. There's a little tension between the two. I believe they cost each other matches leading up to this. And a while back, they actually fought for the name of DX. So there's a little tension. X-Pac does a low blow in the match and gets the win after the X Factor. He tries to shake Road Dogg's hand. Road Dogg doesn't like how he won the match. So definitely the tension is not resolved there. Okay, match. I would have, I think these guys could have put on a really good match if they're given enough time. You had a story there, but I think these guys are too good of workers to only get 4.5 minutes. So I'd like to see, I think this match, if given the proper time, could have been a sleeper match.
Yeah, I think Road Dogg is criminally underrated for his ability in the ring. I know that he wasn't, he wasn't AJ Styles by any means, but he was a solid wrestler. So yeah, you're right. They could, and we already know what Waltman was and what he became. I mean, he was the guy that you'd put talent with to see if they could hang. That's just what Sean Waltman was. So, yeah, I mean, if they'd given him maybe another 3 or 4 minutes, this could have been probably a really sneaky good match on the card. It still wasn't terrible. Like Tim said, it told a story. They had history. And it's too bad that they had to cut them out. I don't know if they were already worried they were going to go long, so they just decided to have a short one, or I don't know what, but it definitely feels like they should have went a little bit longer.
Roland said short one. So I definitely
story of my life, pal.
I definitely agree. It was just a weird. It was a weird dynamic too. They were both heels, so like it was a heel versus heel match, and the only reason they're really feuding is because they just were like, we're annoyed at each other, because we've been in DX together, and they're both in their DX gear. So like, in retrospect, it was terrible booking. Like you said, Tim, it could have had a better story. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry to cut you off, but like they kept saying too, like Jim Ross and Lawler, they're mentioning how X-Pac and Road Dogg were like one of the greatest tag teams ever. I'm like, when did they really tag up just the two of them? Like, I didn't understand that.
Like they had some trios matches, but it was mainly, Triple H was like the A player, and X-Pac was kind of just like Roland said, he was just kind of thrown into matches here and there, and he was kind of like their lackey. Like he'd go like, we're pissed off at Kane right now. Go fight Kane, and then they'd form that weird friendship. So like he just kind of was ping ponged around.
Yeah,
and then it was the New Age Outlaw. So I thought the same thing. They were saying on commentary. I'm like, house shows? Are we referencing house shows on SummerSlam? Like Vince McMahon, Mister, I created my own universe. Don't have your own continuity straight. Like what the fuck?
Right. So, Manga, you mentioned they were heels. Tim, how would Jim Cornette say they were heels?
He's a heel.
They're both heels, so
that's right.
But yeah,
they're both heels, motherfucker.
Double cheese.
Speaking of that, speaking of the whole heels and all the Jim Cornette shit, did you guys hear about the whole fake rumor that had to get debunked because wrestling dirt sheets are just that? They're fucking dirt sheets, and they just report rumors and then made you look like asses when the real truth comes out. So there was a story earlier in the day today that was like, oh, AEW was told by Warner Brothers to tone down the language and tone down and blah, 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 blah. Then to come out like literally 2 hours later, that story is false. Warner Brothers executives praised AEW's ratings, praised AEW's success and demo, blah, blah, blah. Like basically saying it's great branding for them. So it's so funny that all these people are like, oh, doom and gloom AEW, they're going to get canceled, blah, 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 WCW. And then you have the company coming out and saying they're performing financially well. We're going to renew them. Their ratings are looking well. They're hitting our marks. But, the marks in the IWC see some random dirt sheet. Oh, there's some friction backstage. Guess what? There's friction in your fucking workplace too. I hate coworkers sometimes too. We all do. They annoy you.
Yeah,
you work with them every day.
I think the reason why that came out is because it was reported they had a talent meeting before Dynamite, and if you watch Dynamite, unless I missed something, I don't think they said the shit word once. So they probably just tried to take those 2 points and they made a story out of it without actually having any of the facts.
Right.
But you could have a whole episode without saying the word shit.
Well, when you say the word shit the episode before 311 times,
I know.
You probably hit your quota for the month.
Yeah.
Right. It's like that South Park episode where they had the shit timer because they could say it. And like then the aliens came down because they said shit, or demons, whatever, because they said too many cursed words, because that's what the history was, curse words.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's funny that people, like, I don't know, lately it's just everyone's turning, like, now that WWE is doing better, it's funny to see like the fake fans starting to turn into EW now for like every little thing, like, oh, the locker room's trash, it's burning. It's like, then why are you watching if you're this miserable watching a product? It doesn't make sense. I've never understood people who like angry watch something. Like, I personally, there's a lot of movies I don't like. I'll say it on there. I'll take the hit for it. I don't think Top Gun's a great movie. I'm not a big fan of it. I know a lot of people are. They have the right to that. I took a lot of heat for like, I can't believe you don't watch that movie. Okay, I'm not going to watch something I don't like. Why? Just so I can pick it apart because I don't like it? Like, no, I'm not bitter.
Yeah. Yeah, people are just happy to criticize whatever. I mean, and just they want to point out every little thing. But there's no pleasing everybody. Like, there's going to be, people are going to find something wrong with anything in life, except for our show. We're perfect. But
well, no, and I think that's kind of like where all the fake news drama came for AEW. These people are like, oh, there's many people upset in the locker room, blah, blah, blah. It could literally be one person, their source, and they're going to say the word some people, because when you say some people versus a wrestler, it sounds like more, so it makes your story look more powerful. Like,
well, And I keep cutting you off today. I'm so sorry, but
That's all right.
But when you have a locker room of 1.5 million people in there, probably some of them are going to get upset.
Considering they have 3 hours of airtime a week and you only show like the same 14 people, there's probably 50, 60, 80 some odd people that are pissed off every week. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, and I'm saying that's fair. And that's like in everything. That's like WWE back when they had the bloated roster. It's the same kind of effect. Or, like there's plenty of jobs. Like the thing is, there's only so many top spots at every company, so everyone's going to fight. So even if you take like a cell phone company, for example.
Well, and to further that point, that's one of the reasons why there's rumors that Triple H is going to be starting the draft here pretty soon and sticking to the draft, because you have so many wrestlers, you need to have their own shows. Because if you don't, it's literally to AEW where the same 14, 20 guys, women, whoever, are on Rampage or on Dynamite, and then they'll have the random jobber or the random indie guy like Mance Warner or whoever the fuck you never heard of. But yet you have talent that you're paying that sits at catering for fucking weeks at a time. So like that's the biggest difference, is that AEW has 3 hours, WWE has, counting NXT, has 6 hours of TV a week. And they're smart enough to break it up. NXT is its own entity. SmackDown and Raw are going to be becoming their own entities again, which makes sense because you can't have the same guys on TV on different shows when you have that big of a roster. It doesn't make sense. And that's why they went to the brand split after they took WCW over way back in the day, because they had too many fucking wrestlers. They're like, how do we fix this problem? We make different shows. That way we can feature different people.
No, I'm not, and that's valid. I'm not saying that criticism. I'm saying more that people are trying to find the drama and all the shit backstage to say it's falling apart. It's just crazy. Like there's a difference between like what you did, which is a valid criticism. Same as if I say like the women's division is booked like dog shit. It's okay to have criticisms, because one thing I like about AEW, and I'm not trying to keep on AEW rant here or anything, is that at least they listen and adjust and change. And I like that now that Triple H is in WWE, they'll listen, adjust, and change. Because as a wrestling fan, it's nice to see two companies care and want to try to put out a good product and try to do what they can. Because as we can see in this show, SummerSlam 2000, to help put us back on the track here, Tim.
Right?
Booking can kill momentum of a show. So, like, you got to make sure, like Roland said, you got to know who the hell the wrestlers are, even if you tell them, hey, here's a little quick bio, or make sure not every match is just a dream match. Make sure some matches have stories and meaning. Because, like you both said, the Road Dogg X-Pac match, if it had a better story or went longer and told the story in the ring, probably would have been more entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. Next up is one of these weird tag team matches for a singles title. It's an intergender tag team match for the Intercontinental title. Eddie Guerrero and Chyna are going to get the win over Trish Stratus and Val Venus. Chyna gets the pin after pinning Trish, and therefore becomes the Intercontinental title. This is...
You just said Chyna became the Intercontinental title. Just wanted
yeah. Maybe.
You imagine winning the title and having to throw Chyna over your shoulder every time?
X-Pac never won the Intercontinental title, did he? Anyways,
he won the European title, which some say says it's better than the Intercontinental title. I don't know who, but
no.
Sorry, I was making a joke there, but okay, all right, never
what's
mind.
the joke?
The
X-Pac
Chyna thing,
yeah,
where he was going with that.
Go ahead, do it. I want to hear the joke,
and you missed it.
Oh, damn it!
That was the point he made about X-Pac. Chyna throwing Chyna over your shoulder. I don't think X-Pac ever won that title.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, well, that's why Tim did that. Jesus.
All right, moving on. If we have any listeners left,
my mom will still be listening.
Hi, Linda.
I'm sure Emily will listen. She always listens. Sorry, Em.
Anyways, this was like the beginning of Trish Stratus' career. They made up the point that she's not a seasoned wrestler. Val is, Val's all pissed at her and stuff like that. This is the whole Latino heat storyline between Eddie Guerrero and Chyna, which I thought was actually really cool back in the day. I thought that was an entertaining storyline. Eddie Guerrero was, he could just do anything, any gimmick he was thrown at, he could make it work. So this is not going to be in any of these top 10 lists of the greatest matches of all time. But it is an introduction to Trish Stratus, who would become a Hall of Famer. And this is kind of her start, even though she didn't do a whole lot in this match. But you have three really good talent in here, and Hall of Fame talent, and Val Venus. So that's all there is in this match.
I was going to ask you who the three were, so that's kind of funny that you
Chief Morley, Tim.
That's
Chief
Morley. Sean Morley. Sean Morley.
He's some conspiracy theorist.
This is the second week in a row that we've mentioned Sean Morley based on the fact that Edge was married to his sister.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks in a row, Sean Morley gets a cheap pop on our podcast.
He ranks pretty high up on the piece of shit, scale. He's up there with Shannon Moore.
Oh, nobody can be as good as Shannon Moore in your book.
Yeah, I mean, just Google why he deleted Twitter. That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't gonna put it out in the universe.
Is he as bad as Marty Jannetty?
I mean, I don't know.
That's, you're that's maybe in a different way, but
Gary. That's like a Gary Busey comparison. Like Marty Jannetty is like Gary Busey, like their mental state. Like,
hey,
that's the next reality show.
In case you guys were wondering, on November 16, 2020. You can pre-order right now, but it comes out on November 16, 2022 rather. Sorry. You can pre-order Goat Simulator 3 in case any of you guys want that. I don't know. Totally random. I know I had a thing to like just look at what's coming soon. So I've been scrolling through it while we've been doing the podcast in the background. And in case any of you guys want it, I'm going to promote it right here. Goat Simulator 3. It's only $40. I don't really know what you do with goats, and I don't know if it's like a game for like Middle Eastern men. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. And I'm not singling them out. I'm just saying I don't know what happens in this. I mean, you know the stereotypes. I'm not afraid to say it. And if you have any problem with that, you can at me at www.papmongo.
Oh, don't put my Twitter out there. No. You said that. You put yours at Rowan Field.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so and obviously, this was meant to be a joke. So if anybody takes it seriously, I apologize. It was just a joke. But anyways, no joke. Goat Simulator 3 coming out November 16th. I'm stoked. I might pre-order it. Probably not, but I might.
We probably should just shut up and move on to the next match.
Bah. It's off the rails. Oh, well.
Anyways, excuse me. We have a singles match.
Oh my God! Hold on. Before you go, it literally says Tim. No. Hold on. I just now realized it says under Goat Simulator 3, it says pre-utter digital downgrade. I don't know what that means, but that's exactly what it says, word for word. Pre-utter digital downgrade.
This is why you can't have shiny things in front of me and Roland. Our ADD will kill this show every time.
Oh, it's just I've seen farming simulator, I've seen lawnmower simulator. What the fuck, goat simulator? Like what?
Dude, I literally saw like a hiking simulator. We can't get kids to go outside. We're gonna do, hey, let's go hiking on Xbox. What the actual fuck?
I don't even think I'm in shape for that.
No, I know.
I take offense to that because round or plum or whatever the hell my body shape is still a shape. Round is a shape.
Oh, no, I agree with that. I just don't think I'm capable of hiking on Xbox.
Hey, and to be fair, to give it some love too, Farming Simulator 2022 comes out a day before that. So if anybody wants that, they can pre-order that as well.
I wonder if the Goblins play that game.
They might. There's a new Ghostbusters game.
Henry, oh God, what happened in the show?
Mago. There's a new Ghostbusters game coming out.
I'm surprised Frank didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's our listening Ghostbusters expert.
Don't blame me. They put a nice shiny like emblem. They're like, click on me. See, and I did. So that's how we got here. So I apologize for anybody that I've made cry and outed anybody with their weird obsession for goats. Just throwing it out there. There's also a train sim world, which is like a train simulator too.
I mean, I will be just before we go. I will say I have played the flight simulator games. Those are friggin' relaxing, but I couldn't imagine doing a realistic version, which is like it's real time. So like you fly from here to Tokyo, it's like legit 16 hours. Yeah, like I'm good, bro. Like give me the hype. Like give me the unrealistic. I can get around the world in 30 minutes, so I can see the world. Like I don't. I'm not gonna sit on my couch 16 hours. That's how people die. That's how you get like blood clots in your legs and just drop.
Fair enough.
Pretty much.
Speaking from one who had a pulmonary embolism almost 2 years ago, it's not fun. It's not. It's highly unrecommended.
I'm not trying to put that juju out there for anyone.
No, I'm just saying. I will legitimately say, like, and again, taking another turn, I will say that I felt like I was having. It was in my lung. I felt like I was having a heart attack. Like, I actually texted my wife and said, I think I'm dying. So like, if I am, I'm sorry. It was like midnight too. Like, I hate to like text you this way, but like, I think I'm having a heart attack. So it was bad. So yeah, blood clots are not good. They're no joke. So 100% right. Definitely shouldn't be doing 16-hour flight simulators.
No, I would recommend it.
Nope.
I
Back on track.
I had a segue there, but I don't know if it's just tasteful. So I'm gonna keep it.
Fun fact: do you know the creator of this segue went off a cliff?
Right. Yeah, there you go. Hey.
No, did you know that? Real fact. Look it up right on the Google machine if you don't believe me. The creator and inventor of the Segway drove a Segway off a cliff and died. Oh. Not sure if that's the best advertising for that product, which we just lost some response, I'm sure, but
probably not.
And it's a New England product. It was made in New Hampshire.
To be fair, I mean, I've probably offended plenty, Tim. So I mean, you know, I may or may not have mentioned a stereotype that may or may not apply to people that listen to this show. So like, my bad. But there's already 2 games before this, so
God, I want to move on.
Clearly, it was a hit. So. I would love.
What is the next match, Tim?
I'd be curious to see.
You broke Tim. You got it. You got him to throw his headphones finally.
Those are expensive headphones too. You shouldn't be checking those things around.
The Guitar Center. Those are like $1,000 headphones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He can't even figure out how to get them back on. Look at him.
Yes, we got
struggling. He's eating the cord now.
Roland told me one day he was going to get you to throw your headphones. Damn straight it happened on August 27th, 2022.
And the best part is I was trying to defend Tim using a distasteful segue because of what I said already. And Tim's like, fuck this, I'm done. All right. Let's get back on track. Yeah.
I could care less about the Trish
we were just talking about that match, the Trish Stratus and Val Venus and how disappointed Val was in Trish. Yeah. Go.
Yeah,
all right. So moving along, our 4th match of the evening is Jerry Lawler and Taz, with Jerry Lawler getting a win in about 4.5 minutes. They had a storyline where Taz went after JR and Jerry Lawler defended him. They've done that kind of storyline several times. Taz comes out mocking JR with like the I don't know what they call them, but it's the stick that people that are blind that they use to like walk around. I don't know what they call it, but with that and stuff. So they had a storyline here. I mean, it was a typical Jerry Lawler match with a few punches. Taz no sells to pile driver. Taz gets him in the Taz mission. The referee, I think, is knocked down. JR hits him with the candy jar, hits Taz with the candy jar, and Lawler gets the win. Short and sweet, which is good. I'm a big Jerry Lawler fan, as you all know. But it was a short, but it had a story to it. So I was entertained by it. Not the best wrestling match in the world, but I was entertained.
It's too bad JR didn't have his barbecue sauce, then he could have just squared it in his eyes.
Right? The guy did that later with Michael Cole.
Oh yeah, I mean it would have been the first, But hey, look at Michael Cole now. He's still thriving in WWE, 45 years later. So
yep.
Thank God to Pat McAfee for reviving that man's career from
You're not wrong.
The big dog.
Yeah. It's boss time. But yeah. No, it's like Tim said, it's definitely more of a comedy style of match that had a backstory and nothing more, nothing less. It wasn't much of a wrestling match. It's not going to be a 5-star. Even Meltzer's not dumb enough to rank this 5 stars. So, it told the story. It passed a little bit of time. It made some people laugh, and by God, JR ruined a candy jar in the process.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like Tim kind of alluded to, the build-up was better than the match. But it's it's a cliche, but I mean, it's the only really way you can get Taz and JR to have a feud. That's the only logical way, because JR didn't really, at this point, didn't really leave the desk unless someone feuded with him as on the announce team, and was more of like a one match every year kind of guy. And Taz was, unknowingly on his way out, because of his neck injuries. So this match is, like you will said, just kind of a comedy match and a whatever match. But I will say that when we talked about doing this show, I'm like, oh, this is where JR hits Taz with a fucking candy dish. Like, that's like the only thing I remember from that match is just him smashing his face with a candy dish.
Yeah.
2 back-to-back iconic spots because the next one has a pretty iconic one too.
Yeah, pretty famous. It's a hardcore match for the hardcore title. Steve Blackman is going to get a win over Shane McMahon to become the new champion in a little over 10 minutes. Nobody cares about the match. They just reminded of Shane McMahon taking the bump off the scaffolding, the stage area. He climbs up it. Blackman does 2, hits him in the back with the kendo stick, and Shane falls through a table, and Blackman gets the 1, 2, 3. There's a debate for like 5 hours between Lawler and Ross how high up it was. It's 50 or 75. That went on forever.
My God, he was 200 feet up in the air.
I'm not sure. This might have been the first like major bump that Shane took in his career. I don't really remember him doing much high spots before this. I could be wrong.
He was probably traumatized after Kurt tried to kill him.
Well, that was after this, I think, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? I thought that was okay.
I think that was King of the Ring 2002 or 1.
Okay.
Yeah,
For some reason, I thought it was slightly. I thought it was.
I could be wrong, but I think it was after this. But yeah, we all know it was famous. Jump off the cell against Taker, and he's just crazy.
It was King of the Ring 2001.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was the following year. My bad.
So
you might be right.
Yeah. So I mean, the match itself is a typical hardcore match, but it had that one spectacular spot by Shane.
Pretty much sums it up, honestly. It wasn't much to write home about until that spot. So
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that's again the only thing I remember about this match was talking about like, oh, this is when I think Roland mentioned it last episode. This is the one where he climbed up the stage and gets thrown off and like just kind of does that weird like coffin drop type of fall backwards. Yeah.
If you get hit with a kendo stick in the back, you're naturally going to go and fall. Like I mean,
No, he sold it well. I'm not saying it was like.
Oh no, he didn't. He really didn't. He like got hit and then pushed himself off. Like he didn't even hide the fact that he was pushing himself off. Like, don't give him credit. I mean, it was a hell of a bump. But yeah, don't even try to give him credit for. I mean, he literally gets hit. And he's like, it's like, no, you should have done that first, so that way when you got hit, you whatever.
I just want to know what the talent like meetings were like for that. Like, all right, so what the fuck can I jump off of? What do you mean, Shane? All right, I'm going to climb on top of this light scaffolding here. Why? Because I can.
Because
I don't give a fuck. I'll hit this kid in the head with a stick.
Man, we don't die. Your grandfather's dead, Shane. Like he passed away. Like you guys do die eventually. He's like, no, we're McMahon's, damn it. Okay, go ahead. I mean, and look to the iconic things he's fallen and been thrown off of. I mean, look at the Hell in the Cell spot with the Undertaker. That's still a hell of a bump.
I will say the one thing that like nobody gives Shane enough credit for, really. I love that every single pay-per-view match he always had his custom Shino Mac jersey, and I always thought those are fun. I like there's always little inside jokes or digs on the back.
Yeah.
And honestly, do you guys really remember Steve Blackman really getting any really spots on pay-per-views? I feel like he was always on like Raw and SmackDown or with Head Cheese, but I don't really remember him having a lot of like singles pay-per-views. So I feel like I wonder, Roland, I think you should look it up when we go next one. How often was Steve Blackman like really in a pay-per-view match, like singles match?
I think he had a couple things with like Al Snow, I think, at some point. Was it he the one where it was Al Snow, or was it Blackman that they fought like out of the arena and like towards like the river or something?
I think it was just a random episode of SmackDown.
I think it was a pay-per-view. I thought it was a pay-per-view. Well, I'm not sure. I think it was maybe like I thought it was like the St. Valentine's Massacre or whatever, but anyways, nobody cares about Steve Blackman.
I mean, if you get a bail bond from him, they will.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Next up is a 2 out of 3 falls match. Chris Benoit is going to defeat Chris Jericho 2-1 in 13 minutes. Benoit gets the first fall by tapping out Jericho to the crossface, and Jericho makes Benoit tap out to the walls, and then Benoit cradles Jericho for the last fall to win the match by having his foot on the rope. It was an okay match to me. I was a little disappointed knowing the talent in the ring. I just felt this match was really rushed. Like 13 minutes to do 3 falls between these guys is not enough time. A 2 out of 3 falls match should be probably 20, 25 minutes because you need enough time to it needs to be believable. I don't think anybody believes that somebody's going to beat Chris Jericho 2 times in 13 minutes. Like, granted, Chris Jericho wasn't the main event performer that he became, but still. So it was okay. I was just disappointed because I felt this was a rushed match.
Yeah, I agree. You're not wrong at all. You think of a 2 out of 3 falls match, you think of something going at least like 20 minutes, like in your mind. You're like, it's got to take, So it did feel kind of rushed. 2 Hall of Fame competitors, and again, if you don't, I hate to beat the Benoit dead horse because like we always have to bring it up, but if you can't separate the person Benoit from the wrestler Benoit, then that's a separate issue. But the wrestler Chris Benoit had a Hall of Fame career. Granted, he'll never probably be in the Hall of Fame because of what the person did. However, as a wrestler and a performer in the WWE and WCW, he was more than worthy of a Hall of Fame spot. And again, I get why he can't go in. I totally get it. But again, separating the two, Benoit, you're not going to find a bad Benoit match. You're just not.
No, I agree. I'll say I echo the same sentiments as you, so we don't repeat it, obviously, and beat that dead horse again. I just think the reason Tim, too, and others, the way Benoit won the third one was kind of like cheap. Like he held the rope, and the ref wasn't looking like you were talking about. So I think that kind of cheapened the win because, like you said, they didn't want Jericho to lose 2 falls. And I know there was because of a heel tactic. So I think it kind of cheapened the win versus 2 very technical wrestlers. I mean, you start out correct where each one hits a submission, like you both said, to get their victory. Obviously using their finish, but then the third one's just a cheap rope hold. Like it didn't do anything for the storytelling in the ring. So I don't know who produced the match, or maybe Jericho just wasn't at a stride yet. But yeah, it felt flat from when you see the names in the card. You're like, oh, it's gonna be a great match, and then you see it like, could have been better.
Yeah. Next up, though, probably what the show is remembered for, the first ever TLC match for the tag team titles. Edge and Christian are going to defeat the Dudleys and the Hardys, about 18 and a half minutes or so. I mean, this was a hell of a match. I mean, the bumps that all 6 of these guys took were amazing. I don't think any of us can do this match justice by just talking about it. If you haven't seen it, you got to go watch it.
If you haven't seen Living Under a Rock.
Yeah. I will say this. I saw a quote from Bruce Pritchard recently where he said, the match was great. He doesn't like watching these because he knows what the toll it took on their careers. And, as a fan watching this back in 2000, you don't think about that stuff. Or, if you watch it now, you might not think about that stuff. But when you have that perspective, you're like, damn, this was entertaining, but what was the cost? So, that's kind of maybe the negative about this match, but you have to give all the props in the world to these 6 competitors for putting their bodies on the line in this type of match, which has never been done before up until this point.
Yeah, it definitely is an industry leader in that style of match, and that, like you said, it never been done. It sets a bar, and it's one of those matches that people look back to 22 years later, and they talk about, the chemistry these 3 teams had and what they were able to do, and the fact they were able to do it different times in their career too. Like they did it more than once, and they were all different enough where everybody's like, oh, it's not another, TLC match or whatever. So, kudos to all 3 teams for that. And I just think that, like Bongo said, if you haven't seen this match, are you even a wrestling fan?
And I think the biggest thing that stands out for me and all the different things you've heard about this match from, Matt Hardy has his podcast out there where he's talked about this. Jeff Hardy's had interviews in the past. Like Tim said, Pritchard's covered it. One thing that always stood out to me is it was the first match of its kind, like you said, Roland, that how hard it is to invent something in wrestling. They say, football's a copycat league. Well, wrestling's a copycat, sports entertainment. There's not really original ideas in wrestling. So when someone hits that new idea, that new gimmick, that new match type, it instantly draws your attention. Like, how are they going to do this? What is this? And then, like Tim said, the toll it took on their bodies and what they put themselves through, and it just the crazy bumps. Like, you look back now, you're like, how is he walking? Like, how is he getting up? Like,
well, Matt Hardy isn't walking very well,
right?
Like, and it has to be attributed to a lot of these style of
100% has to be. Yeah. I mean, you can't come crashing down on it. It'll be hurt inside.
Right?
You got to be a man.
Brother.
You don't know hide.
brother. Back.
Yeah, there's been so much said about this match. And we're not going to say anything original. I mean, this match was an original concept that I didn't, back then you didn't think Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys could top No Mercy 99, but they went out there and went, yeah, we just did. Like, the fact that, like you said, Roland, they set the bar, they kept setting it higher. But the problem is, what do you do when the bar is so high? They kill themselves more and destroy their bodies more. But
and the point of that too, the whole No Mercy 99, when you had Edge and Christian and the Hardys, you now add the Dudleys to a match like that, who might be arguably the more decorated tag team of the three. You know what I mean? Like, if you think of the whole picture, I mean, you have the Dudleys who have won every single major tag team title there is to win over their career. Nobody else can say that.
I know. Now you have teams, like Motor City Machine Guns, who are getting close to that. You have teams like the Hardy Boys that could potentially do, replicate something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Braun Strowman and Nicholas. Yeah.
That's a good team.
Young Bucks, obviously wouldn't have WWE, but like, it's cool to see that teams, Briscoes are starting to, collect those belts. FTR is another one that kind of topped that record. Dudley Boys, like, I'm going to put it out here on the show right now. FTR, greatest tag team of all time right now. I honestly don't think there's anyone better. And, it's cool to see that matches like this paved the way for an FTR. Yeah, not the same style, but it helped show the importance of tag team wrestling.
Yep.
Absolutely. And, speaking of another innovative new match, we have two in a row here. The next match is a stink face match.
You heard that correct. You heard that correct, folks.
That's right.
And when you think stink face, you think Rikishi's got to be in this match. Is he doing double duty? No.
Nope.
But it's a thong stink face match.
Thong stink face match. You have
Rikishi wrestled in a thong, pretty much. So
pretty much. You have the Cat, who at this point is married to Jerry Lawler, getting a win over Terry in 3 minutes. Basically, you have to win the match by doing a stink face to your opponent. Technical masterpiece. A lot of great storytelling in this match. This was just for sex appeal.
Vince McMahon sitting in Gorilla going, hot lesbian action.
Johnny, hey boss, there's one for each of us.
Yeah. Hey boss, are we gonna have to make him sign NDAs after? We probably should.
This is just it's for the teenage boy, or I guess any male really that's single or horny, whatever. Pretty much all it is. Not much to write home about. At all.
No.
Mongo's on mute. Mongo doesn't even want to talk about this.
This is back when
he's got something. He's brewing something.
Yeah. This is back when they had lingerie matches and
bra panties,
pudding matches, and all kinds of
matches.
Yeah, okay, yeah, just So I mean, this is back in the era when Vince McMahon was like, "God damn it, let's make them take their clothes off. They don't need to wrestle; they'll just take their clothes off." And it's almost sickening to go back and watch that versus what we've had in the Trish and Lita era. I mean, they both looked good in the ring and they could perform in the ring, and even the era now. We have a lot of good-looking women that can go, and they don't all have to be that stereotypical. Oh, look at they're just someone to look at. No, they can be more than that. They don't need to be just objects like Vince McMahon and his dirty fucking pedophile. Fucking, I know pedophile's not the right word, but he's a creepy fucking old bastard. And it's just you don't have to treat women that way. You don't, and that's the proof in the pudding with the Trish and Lita, the matches they would have leading out of this, and then the stuff you have with the 4 horsewomen of the WWE and stuff like that. So it just goes to show you how far they've come, because they were in a pretty raunchy, derogatory place towards women for a long time.
I mean, and the fact that I know wrestlers came from there, but the fact that they had a Divas search to basically like who's the best eye candy we can train to wrestle, like the fact that we don't give a shit about wrestling, we give a shit about what you look like. And I get it, it's a TV show, it's entertainment, but what message does that send to the trained wrestlers like Aluna Vachon? You know, like what message does that send to wrestlers like ODB? You know, like Jacqueline, like.
Yeah.
It says that sorry, like I hope you have good looks, so Vince McMahon will actually give you a push, even though you can wrestle circles around everyone in this fucking ring.
You can wrestle circles around some of the guys on the roster.
100%. You know, and then you have like a Mighty Molly who like, oh, sorry, you're such talented. We're gonna settle you shitty ass gimmicks. And it's like, I'm so glad he retired because now with Triple H in charge, I'm happy that we don't have to go back to this era. Because honestly, with the last few years, I felt like Vince was trying to go back to. You know, you joked about the hot lesbian action, but folks, it was a thing. If you don't know, it was a whole angle where he was like tuned in to see two girls kiss. Like, okay, cool. What is this? 1991? Like, it's not edgy. It's not cool. Like Roland said, it's creepy. Thank God he's not there because it's just this is what happens just because someone is rich and in power. Maybe we should have all the decisions. I can't believe that people don't have the balls to stand up. Like, dude, seriously, you think? Putting these two girls out there in thongs trying to rub their asses, that's okay, Vince.
They would stand up to him and they would get let go or removed or like there's writers on different shows that don't work there anymore that have come out and said that they didn't like how something was written or whatever, and they would challenge it, and Vince McMahon would tell them to get fucked. This is how we're doing it. I don't care if you like it. We're doing it this way. And it's like, well, why do you have writers then? Because you don't care what I'm giving you. So
I've never, and you know, I can't go back in time and change how I was when I was like 14 to 16. Obviously, I was like, oh, attractive women, I'm going to watch. But like as a grown adult looking back on it, I think that's why we all have such a visceral reaction. You can call us grumpy old men if you want, but it's like, what the actual fuck? Like when through adult eyes, holy shit, this did not age well in this kind of content. It's like, it really is like a darker side of wrestling. And I can see why a lot of these women wrestlers really fought, like you said, to break through those boundaries because Vince destroyed their credibility so bad. And that's a shame. And I'm so glad that women's wrestling is actually thriving now. And, you know, if Tony Khan could actually book it, hopefully use it better, you know, it could be thriving across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next match is a no DQ match between The Undertaker and Kane. It ended a no contest in about 7.5 minutes. This was weird. This is basically just a hardcore brawl, and it just kind of ended abruptly. The Undertaker ripped Kane's mask off, and Kane ran away, and that was it. It was more of like a Raw segment or a SmackDown segment than an actual pay-per-view match.
That's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, luckily they made it up to Kane years later when Shawn Michaels took his head off. They continued the match. They didn't stop it. So
and at that point, Triple H already only had one peck left.
Yeah,
so they could have very easily stopped the match. But
that was the Peckerhead match. Anyways, yeah, it was just odd. That's all I can say about this.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It was. How do you? It's almost like the Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins and the Fiend. It's like, how do you end a match that way? Like, how do you? It's a no DQ match. Like, it's no contest though. It's like, but it's like, no DQ. Like that shouldn't be an answer. Like, what? No contest. Fuck do you mean? Are they both dead? No. Then why the fuck? What? Like, how? I don't get it.
Also, I just think it's completely funny that throughout the years they dropped the whole burn beyond recognition Kane to. Kane could talk to he was just pretending to wear the mask to like
he was burnt in his own mind. He was burnt and disfigured in his own mind, Mongo. It wasn't that he was actually burnt. His own mind played tricks on him, and that's what made him burnt. And he thought he was disfigured, and now he's the mayor.
So you're telling me Undertaker lied to me when he said his brother was disfigured? Next, you're gonna tell me they're not even brothers.
I'm going to tell you that unfortunately, Glenn Jacobs and Mark Calloway have no relation.
La la la, not listening. La, la, la.
That's like the. Have you guys heard the story? The Pritchard podcast about the friggin' guy that was a black
taxi,
guy,
right?
a black guy that was driving the taxi was supposedly the son of the Undertaker. That like his mother like got screwed by the Undertaker way back in the day, and like this dude was like, according to Pritchard, was like dark as night, like naughty, like night. And the guy's
His uncle was Kane.
yeah, and he was like telling, and Pritchard's in this taxi going, and he literally had to text. He was texting the Undertaker, going, you won't believe this shit. Like this dude, like yeah. So apparently he thinks it's still real to him. Damn it.
So it's funny you mention that, 'cause I had a conversation with Emily earlier tonight about how the whole Rock's dad situation came up, where they found all those like fathered children by the Rock's dad, where he has like 100 different kids. Like
Rocky Johnson was sticking his seed everywhere. He was like a Miracle Grow before Miracle Grow was like popular. He was out there just dropping his seed everywhere.
What is it, Antonio Cromartie? Is it the Jets player that had like 11 kids?
Yeah,
Kind of thing, that's what wrestlers did like in the 80s and 90s. So like I wouldn't doubt that in the mid 2000s you see like a 30-year-old man be like, guy looks an awful lot like Ultimate Warrior, like I wouldn't doubt it. And be like, wait a minute, start doing the math, because I mean, oh god, I think I broke Roland.
You think you think the Ultimate Warrior would get so blown up during sex or wrestling? Like which one was worse?
Where did he last longer?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He probably got blown up.
Not life.
Well, clearly no, but like that was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, wow, he's always blown up. Like you think like, so the Ultimate Warrior comes out the ring, runs to the ring, does the rope shake. You think like him getting his pants off? He's like, give me a minute. Untuck the bed.
I can honestly say I've never thought about the Ultimate Warrior sex life.
I never have either, but for some reason it just popped into my head about like, well, I mean, the guy had
Ultimate Warrior sex life just popped in your head.
It did. It was, I'm not proud of it. I mean, I'm not going to say it was. I'm not picturing him having sex.
You get the Warrior Award.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I'd rather be named off Roland, at least won't be named off the.
It's right here, the Warrior Award. No, but like, it's comical. Like that's the first thing I thought of. Like, and again, I'm not picturing him having sex. I'm picturing him in like after his entrance, just being like,
no,
like
I feel like
grabbing an inhaler.
I feel like it's that Rick. Hey, watch that. I feel like it's that Ric Flair video when he was putting his boot on before his last match where he was like winded. I pictured like him, like it snows and he's putting his like snow boots on, lacing him up, and he's like, but I like the stairs.
Fatty McGee, you're the fattest. Yeah. But like, Tim, that was a song by Adam Sandler on one of his CDs.
No, Tim knows music.
Yeah, he doesn't know Adam Sandler, Fatty McGee though.
I know the Hanukkah song.
Yeah, see that? Yeah, or what about the Thanksgiving song? Like the
I don't know that one.
What? Oh, boy.
I know the Phone Wallet Keys song.
Yes, that's a good one. Phone, wallet, keys. Phone, wallet, laptop keys. Phone, wallet.
Honestly, during the height of the pandemic, for me, it was like phone, wallet, mask, and keys.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You mentioned mask. I had to go get the immunization records for my twins, and I go into the doctor's office not thinking that like I have to wear a mask. So when I get in there, they're like, "Oh, can you put this mask on?" And I'm like, "Have you seen this?" No, I can't. I don't have a way to put a mask on because I have no fucking ear on this side of my head to loop the damn mask on. So I'm sitting there with my sunglasses on my head up here like this, and I'm looping a mask on one side, and I'm like hooking it on my ear. So the mask is like, so yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there. Mick Foley has the same problem. So I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You still owe Tim
$10. Wow, it's like
$10.
25 now with interest, I think.
And the worst part
damn, where are you getting that kind of interest rate, Tim?
It's been like a year. Like,
I know.
Where the hell are you getting that kind of interest rate?
Yeah, collection agency on it.
Yeah, get Steve Blackman after him.
Yeah, you're gonna get like 30 cents on the dollar. I'd rather see Blackman. Oh my god! Like I said, imagine you hearing his theme song like coming after you, like that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, he's running while nunchucking after you. Oh Jesus!
And it's like nighttime. It's just a strobe light, and you just see him moving through the trees, like his Titantron.
It's like
I fucking surrender, dude. I'm good.
You got the cheese. You got the cheese head on his head.
and he still somehow clocks the shit out of you with the fucking
Right.
kendo stick, and you fall off a tree that you're holding on to, like Shane McMahon. Yeah,
I feel like he's just like one of those people that he's just like, he looks at you, he looks terrified, he goes, call an ambulance, but not for me. Like, wait.
he's like Liam Neeson in Taken. He's like, I don't know where you are, but I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna fucking hurt you when I find you. Like that Steve Blackman. It's like, if you run away from my bail bonds, I will find you and I will hurt you. It's like
Mr.
no,
Yeah, he's gonna be like Miss Miyagi in freaking the Three Ninjas, where he's like hiding in the tree, like get ready to pounce on him.
Tim,
like,
Three Ninjas was a movie back in the day. It was a pretty good movie.
It was about three ninjas.
They were kids and they learned karate.
The Kira in it.
He might have been. I don't know. Maybe.
Anyways, we got one more match to talk about. It's our main event. It is a triple threat match for the WWF title. The Rock is going to retain against Triple H and Kurt Angle in 20 minutes. There's a story here. This was back in the time when Kurt Angle had a fling with Stephanie. They were very flirtatious, and then he kissed her, and Stephanie liked it.
He gave her mouth to mouth. Brought her back to life.
Yep. So they were playing that throughout the evening and stuff. So during the match, McMahon comes out, kind of gets involved with Triple H and Kurt Angle. That allows The Rock to hit the people's elbow on Triple H and retains the title. So it kind of furthers the storyline between Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Stephanie. I guess it's kind of, The Rock, even though he is the champion, was kind of out of place in this feud. The storyline wasn't really involving him; it was involving Triple H and Kurt.
He was just there.
But he was the fourth wheel.
Yeah, he was the fourth wheel, basically.
Fourth wheel.
So that was kind of weird. But the match was pretty good. But I think the story kind of took away from the match a little bit.
Again, 100%. Definitely seemed like The Rock was kind of out of place, other than the fact that there was a title, and there was almost like two storylines. There was the Kurt Triple H Stephanie thing, and then the title was also involved. So, but yeah, it seemed kind of like a jumbled mess that was to further a storyline, and then like to have The Rock in there just to have The Rock in there, I guess. It was weird, but I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It told a good story, and all three of these guys are Hall of Famers in my mind. We already know Kurt Angle's in the Hall of Fame, but I don't see any world where Triple H and The Rock don't make it in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if Triple H doesn't put himself in the Hall of Fame, like don't like it's a good thing. You should.
Well, and then there's always going to be people that are like, well, he's putting himself in the Hall of Fame because he fucked Stephanie McMahon. They're married. And it's like, no, like you can say what you want about him sleeping with the boss's daughter and whatever.
So yeah, Macho Man.
Well, allegedly. So, here's the bigger thing, though. In all honesty, who approved the original storyline of Stephanie and Triple H?
Vince loved it. Don't you remember that documentary about Vince?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, like, you can't be. It wasn't Triple H necessarily like scheming to be like, you know what? If I get in the storyline, I can then marry her, and I'm in. It's like people make it seem like that's what he was doing. That's not what he was doing. He was doing what was right for his career at the time, which was getting in an angle with Stephanie, and they both ended up falling in love with each other. That happens every day, minus the fact that someone's a boss's daughter. So, and that's going to be the negative that Triple H is going to get when he goes in the Hall of Fame. They're going to be like, well, if he didn't fucking marry Stephanie McMahon, it's like, no, his body of work is plenty good enough when you have people like the Godfather in the Hall of Fame. No offense to Godfather. I'm just saying, who was better performer, wrestler? I mean, yeah, okay, the character's Godfather. Like, I'm just saying, like
Coco Beware. Like, if Coco Beware could be in the damn Hall of Fame, I agree 1,000%. And that's the one thing. And I love when Daniel Bryan was in WWE and he was like, fickle. Honestly, wrestling fans, you're fucking fickle. Like, anytime they don't like something, especially you miserable fucks, so trust me, unfortunately, first of all, we love the growth, but unfortunately with the growth, we've had plenty of trolls, so we've had to remove some lately.
We've had like bad growth, like a fungus.
So we've had to remove, but because that's unfortunately that's what happens is you do have some fans that they don't like a certain wrestler and they'll find stupid reasons to try to get you to hate them too, because they're so like I can't believe Roland likes Triple H. Doesn't he know that Triple H he's only there because he fucks Stephanie McMahon? No, he's there because when The Rock and Stone Cold were gone for different reasons, he fucking stepped it up and was the champion and carried your fucking company, and then kept evolving and was basically chosen by Ric Flair to be one of the next big things. Created probably 2 out of the 3 most iconic factions in WWE history. So like the fact and him and Shawn Michaels' chemistry together and as rivals was one of the more phenomenal storylines, and put Shawn Michaels in the Hall of Fame. So you can't tell me the person that helped to make that fucking storyline movie. Yeah, so people are ignorant if they don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, 14-time world champion,
I mean, technically he is in the Hall of Fame through DX, but yeah, he
I
definitely
know as a
deserves
solo
to be
performer.
as a solo performer, definitely, yeah.
Like I get it. Like, obviously
that's also a good point too, though, because you have somebody like Sean Waltman who will probably never go in as a solo performer, but he's in twice because he's in NWO and he's in DX.
Yeah,
because
I don't get that. I don't think of Sean Waltman in the NWO when I think NWO. I mean, I know he was in there, but
even in 6, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I know that you're friends of, but I feel like you're only in there because you're like, hey, it's me. I'm the one who carries the bags. Come on, you promised me a fucking ring. You told me if I smashed that chick's knee with a crowbar, I'd be in.
That's
not what we told you.
He'll probably go be a 3-time Hall of Famer when X Factor gets inducted too. So
if they put Just Incredible Hall of Fame, then they're really reaching the bottom of the barrel. But also, the one thing that, sadly, another thing that I always remember about this match is Kurt Angle dying because Triple H shot the pedigree on the Spanish announce table and giving way. Kurt Angle just head smashing off the concrete, and he was out of it. Like, so I think they kind of had to rush the finish. So I think that kind of hurt the match too. Is
Kurt Angle out cold. Triple H says to this day that they didn't know Rock and Triple H didn't know if he was coming back out there for the finish of the match either.
Right.
They didn't know.
And I'm glad that they didn't let him just get back in the ring after that table spot, because like even when like they started getting off from the table, like he wasn't looking anywhere. His eyes were just rolled back of his head. He was loopy. And with his neck issues, that was I remember watching as a fan. Like I'll never forget. Like I thought when the table gave him, like he just broke his neck. I thought the way he hit, he broke his neck, and I was like,
well, it's almost as iconic as that time that Randy Orton falls in the hole.
Yep,
on the table, and he falls right through where like the monitor would go. Like that's one of the iconic ones too, where like it's oh god, Randy just broke his fucking leg. Like you know what I mean? Like you don't know what's under there. Like it's just it's the same kind of thing where like the table gives away and literally all. And Triple H even says it to this day. He's got Angle's arms hooked, so Angle literally just fell flat on his head. Like he couldn't catch himself because as the table let go, Triple H couldn't let go of his arms in time.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately either gimmicked poorly or it just gave way because of freak accident. But you could tell Triple H, kind of like bent his knees to get ready to hop, and then as soon as his knees bent, the table just collapsed, and he tried to let go to Angle so Angle protect himself. But at that point, like you said,
yeah.
So, and that's the other thing. A lot of people give Triple H hate for that spot. How can you give hate that was a complete accident? Like, it's just I'll never understand the people like the anti Triple H people. I'll never understand them. I think without Triple H, honestly, I think I wouldn't have been a fan, because Triple H is what kind of kept me going, because Stone Cold's my favorite. So then he went out and I was like, well, fuck, who do I really root for? And I was like, well, I'm going to root for Triple H, because Triple H is always fucking there. Like it was always like he was like the workhorse until his injuries in the early 2000s. He was the workhorse.
Yeah, and I've made this point many times on this show. You look at his WrestleMania record. How many people has he put over at WrestleMania? Like, I think he has the most losses in WrestleMania history. So it's not like
he's got a losing record by a lot too. Like it's not like he's like 7-8.
No, and like how many times did he put Batista over for the world title? I mean, Batista beat him like 3 times or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Ironic though, his last match he goes out at WrestleMania with the win over Batista too.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think. I'm glad at his last match, even though it's annoying, was a WrestleMania match. I feel like that's how he would have wanted to go out. I mean, he wanted to go out losing, but
was his match with Orton and Saudi? I thought that was after. Was that before the WrestleMania?
I think
for some reason I thought his last match was with Orton. I don't know if it was in Australia or Saudi. I can't remember, but it was one of the two. I mean, I think it's definitely either his first or his last or second to last match.
I know that's kind of what it hit me, like the whole holy crap, we're getting old, fellas. It's like when you're like, oh, Triple H retired, Undertaker's retired, Stone Cold. I mean, I can't really count that as coming out of retirement. Same with Shawn Michaels. I don't count that last thing as out of retirement.
Yeah.
It's like it's crazy to think it's like
Okay,
everyone you go.
So Triple H last match in WWE was June 29th, 2019. In a WWE's tour of Japan, he teamed with Shinsuke Nakamura in a non-televised match against Robert Roode and Samoa Joe. A few months prior, he defeated Batista at WrestleMania in a no-holds-barred match. His last televised match was Triple H lost to Randy Orton at the Super Showdown in June 7th of 2019.
Good job, Tim. Sorry, I got that mixed up. For some reason, I thought that was a February show. Then
Hats off to Tim on that one. Good call.
hats off. No appreciation.
And I do what I can. I gotta hold you guys up. Anyways, so yeah, that's our rundown of SummerSlam 2000. As far as the rating goes, I think I'm gonna go for a 6, and I'm only going that high because of the TLC match. That is worth several points in itself. The rest of the card, I don't know. I found a little bit of issues with each match, so it wasn't the best show, but the TLC match really saved it.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a solid 6 for me. It's too bad they had some of that crap on there that we talked about earlier that didn't really need to be on there. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as some of the shows we've seen, and it wasn't anywhere near as good. But yeah, I think it was slightly above average, and a 6 I think is a good place to put it.
So to quote someone, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. Michael Scott Mongo. So I don't want to do 666. I don't think we should have that number either. So I'm going to look at the production quality of the video packages. We're going to add 0.5 because I was thinking of 6.2, but I'm going to Dave Meltzer it, and I'm going to add a 0.5, so it's 6.5, just so we don't have it's still 6.6 shit. So I'm going to go to 7. I'm going to be super generous. We're going to go to 7 here. But I'm going to say because the video packages and the visual aspect of the stage. I always like SummerSlam. I always like the spectacle of it. So I think just knowing it's a SummerSlam, I'll rate it a 7 just so we can break the 666. And because the TLC to me is just so iconic and legendary, that bumps up, like you said, Tim. And then even though the finish kind of sucked with the 3-way match, just the 3 performances, it was like still a great match before the kind of wonkiness. So I'll do a 7 just to, again, not be 666.
All right. That's our rundown SummerSlam 2000. Next week, we are going to do predictions for All Out. All Out is next Sunday. It's Labor Day weekend, so hopefully you don't have to work that Monday. Sorry, Roland.
Yeah, but I don't have to work that Sunday.
That's good. So you can watch it.
You always come to your house.
Hey, he's welcome.
Possibly. We can't go to your house, Mongo. I mean, this is coming from a guy who had a reason because he lived in like this little camp, and he's like, "Oh, I don't really have the room for you." Then he decides instead of using that reason anymore, he's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna move all the way across the fucking country." I'm gonna move all the way down to the coast.
I did 1,000 square foot camp. I did. It was an old summer camp on a lake. If I had the room, Emily can attest to. If I had the room, I had no problem. She had no problem. Because you know what? She's as much of a fan as I am. Sometimes she can school me on stuff in wrestling. So she would have had you. She was probably pissed I couldn't get you guys over because that was always the goal. Is one time do that big one. So when I do come visit, because obviously I'm going to have to come back. My family's up there too, including you guys. You guys are my family. Well, when I come back visit, we're going to have to maybe make sure there's a pay-per-view so that we can get together and watch it. I'll put that out in the universe.
Absolutely.
Mongo even said he's going to pay too. I heard
that's right.
I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
and I'll even pay for the pizza from Clementos.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
I had them this week.
I was going to say Tim had Clementos this week.
Did
you have
Thursday,
the Tim?
Wednesday.
He
No, I had a buffalo chicken calzone. It was delicious.
He had it to go, so he couldn't really get the Tim. They're not going to give him a beer to go. So,
and to be fair, Steve wasn't there, so I don't know if they would have known what I was talking about.
Well, Steve needs to tell his staff that the Tim is a steak and cheese and a beer for $11.99.
That's right. So yeah, that's our show. We'll do all out predictions next week. Follow us on our socials. We're really, like Mongo mentioned earlier, we are growing, and we do have some trolls out there, but the majority of you are really nice and really supportive. So thank you for listening. Keep spreading the word about us. @WWPAP podcast on all our socials. We're very active on TikTok. I post a lot of videos there, and Facebook and all that stuff.
Yeah, Tim is definitely the sole reason why TikTok is thriving.
I am the TikTok master right now. Anyway, but no, the credit goes to you guys for building the socials. So yeah, follow us. Keep spreading the word, like I mentioned, and tune us in next week for all out predictions. Until then, I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Fulis.
And I'm Mungo.
And this is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
You imagine
face match.
You imagine try to take credit for the TikToks. Jeez.
Yeah.
I challenged him to a non-stink face match because I am not doing that. So.
Yeah, nobody wants to.
I'm not doing a stink face match with you. No.
I said
I've already seen your ass before.
Yeah, that's true.
I said non-N-O. On that note, goodbye, everyone.
I hope you're all having a nice day.